very appreciative of that, but, you know, I think it's really being able to be part of the solution and to find out what our options are. If there's a way that we can work with the city to find out, you know, or help with funding or whatever to actually fix the issue and not Band-Aid it. And then if there's not that option, then maybe we do need to consider American Water's offer. But, you know, yeah, we're not saying rush into it. We're just saying
Talk about it.
before before we move on with this sewer, let's figure out this other issue that's much, much bigger and go from there. And you know,
Especially before we pass the prices on to people who are paying for barely functional water, as it is.
well, and some people are seniors and
Yeah.
low income.
Yeah. I would actually say that the population of this town probably skews more heavily to seniors than to young families, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't call
I
it,
just
but
wanted,
I'm just pointing out that he has a
I just wanted
question.
to, like, as far as staffing goes and taking care of the water, are you guys appropriately staffed right now?
No, we need another water now.
Okay, so how many people do you guys have currently that kind of oversees or goes out if there's a water line bust, if something happens? How many people do you guys have that are,
We had 6 out last week.
okay? Because I had to call 3 times. It was a bust on your all side of my line, and on the 3rd day, I kind of had to get rude with the lady just to get somebody out there because my yard was underwater. 3 days, 3 phone calls, and finally, you know, I'm rude, right? You guys came, you dug up my yard, 6 foot deep on your side of the line. I wish I'd have taken pictures so I could show you guys with how the guy put it back. It
Where
doesn't look
was
like my
that?
yard anymore.
Where's this at?
Cardinal Drive. I'm gonna take pictures and I'm gonna bring it to you guys, okay? So you can see, and it's like if you're that massively understaffed that he can dig my yard up, right?
Oh,
And then just slap back a bunch of rock and mud and, you know. Obviously, you don't have the resources you need to do anything bigger. You can't take care of just my house the right way, right? Just my one little leak, it took 3 days to get somebody out there, and that water was leaking all that 3 days before you guys could get somebody out, right? And now my yard looks like crap, right? Which I guess I'm gonna be figuring that out, right? Because we don't have the proper staff to take care of it. That's what the lady, you know, on the other end of the phone, that's what she tells me. So if we can't take care of it, and we don't have the staff to take care of it, why are we holding on to it? I'd rather pay West Virginia American Water 20% more, all right? Because we all know their rates are just a little higher than what we're probably gonna pay here at the town of Milton, but we'd have clean water, we'd have resources. We'd have people on staff that can come out and fix this stuff when there's a problem.
It'd be their concerned upgrade.
Yeah.
I know that
Who
we've talked
cares?
about
Let it go.
infrastructure.
Just let it go.
Work into
The
the
emergency
contract that
line.
they have to fix the pipes
Right.
as
I
part
mean,
of it.
y'all,
I,
Troy, I messaged you on Facebook. You gave me the number to the emergency line. How many of you tried to call that emergency line last week?
On Thursday?
Oh.
Yep. About all of us.
I couldn't
You
find
know,
it.
it doesn't ring because whoever has the emergency line, when there's an emergency, he shuts that phone off. He's not dealing with it.
Could I
Okay.
say something? I'm not part of Woodline, but I would like to address that. A couple of weeks ago on Saturday, my water came out so brown that I ruined a load of clothes. I ruined clothes all over. But I did call that emergency line that Troy put out. They did, the lady answered me on Monday morning. She was
Lord's
on
on your
Saturday.
side.
It was on Saturday.
oh, she called on Saturday and got an answer on Monday.
No, she talked to me on Saturday.
Oh,
Well,
well, that's
She
awesome.
talked to me
That's
on
awesome.
Saturday. She took my concerns on
Good.
Saturday. When I came in here when I called on Monday morning, she had an answer for me as far as my clothes were concerned. Now, I still can't do laundry because my water's brown, but she did answer. They gave me a lot of product to clean my clothes with.
Man.
Wow.
Yeah, you
They-
can come and get that.
They told me to let them know when I was doing the laundry because I have allergies and I had to do multiple washings, and they're supposed to adjust my water bill. I don't know whether they will, because I haven't got it yet, but they did. I will address that when the number that Troy put out. I called, she answered, she called me back Monday and took care of it. So that number does work.
Glad that it worked for you.
All her.
I'm not, yes, I have brown water, which really upsets me. You know, I can't drink it, I can't do laundry right now, but I will say for the town of Milton, they did answer that emergency line. And I thank the lady, because when I called her on Saturday, I was not very nice, because I'm not a wealthy person, and I had ruined a lot of clothes. So, you know, it was, but I was not nice, and I apologized on Monday. I called her back and let her know when my clothes were taken care of, and thanked her for it. But that number does, I don't know about your
I
problem.
mean, that's, we will apparently just funnel all of our calls through you because
I don't
They
want
probably got my
Woodline's
number
from what
problem.
we're hearing, they've got a 20%
Is there any more,
success
is there any
rate.
more questions?
Yes, oh
pertaining-
yes, yes, we still have questions.
Excuse
sorry.
me just a second. Is
I
there
was
any more,
answering.
excuse me just a second. Is there any more questions pertaining to the sewer bond?
Yes.
I have a question.
Okay, we have the man right here that could probably answer it. Now, if we're going to get back on the water and just call the water, don't want to hear it. Okay?
Never want to hear it, and that's why we're still in the boat
Now listen
that
to
we've
me.
been in for 5
Listen to
years.
me, I'm speaking now, okay?
You're also a public servant that is
I'm
supposed to.
speaking now, and you will, you can talk whenever you ask the question, okay?
Okay, I will
All right.
finish asking my questions when
Now,
they're,
is there
when
any
they
more
are
questions,
finished.
is there any more questions on the sewer bond? Well,
So
the
are
attorney
we
is here.
guaranteed, first of all, is there a vote tonight? Are you all actually taking a vote this evening? Is that in the works?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
and so are we,
They didn't hear you, I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's a vote this evening to enact the ordinance on third reading. As
okay,
I said earlier, there's another action that'll be required once the project has been bid and bids are in hand and we have a closing date.
okay. Are we guaranteed that, I mean, we've established the fact here that we think water is a priority, not sewer, okay? Everybody knows that, it's established. That's what we would like for you all to understand, is that if you're gonna do something, take care of our water. But are we guaranteed that this 17% or 18% increase, whatever it is it all going towards that? I mean, is that gonna be black and white and we see it and we know it, that it's all going towards the sewer project?
In the
Yes,
sense,
no,
oh,
or?
I'm not sure what you're asking, I'm
She's
sorry.
asking, we're about to see an 18%, 19%
understand that,
increase,
yeah.
so what she was asking was, is all of that 18% increase, or can somebody else more qualified give an answer as to if all of that 18% increase is in fact going to that sewer project? Is that what you were asking?
Yeah.
Great.
Okay, I'm not the CPA on it. My understanding is that the vast majority of that is going towards the additional debt service that'll be required in order to pay the bond issue back. Because the bond issue is right now, it's committed at $5.8 million. It's for a term of 40 years at an interest rate of 3 1/8, excuse me. So, and when we talk about timing on projects, this money has been committed since September 28th of 2018.
Oh, that was the day we were there.
So projects, you're talking 3 years since the money was committed. And that's not atypical for water and sewer projects. They take a very long time. There's a lot of reasons for that, but they do take a long time.
Wasn't that about the time that property was bought by who's out there?
I have no idea.
Yeah,
No clue.
it was also about the time that we were voicing lots of our
Yes,
concerns
that's
about
when
the
we-
water,
That is the time. when
about
we-
the water there, so,
When water pressure started going down.
so it's not like they didn't
September
know
2018.
that the water was not taken care
Our first month, we had a.
All go towards the sewer project.
All of
As far
of.
as
Okay, well, he
all
said the
the
vast
money-
majority, so we needed to clarify.
All of the money's going.
Well, and if anybody wants to
Oh,
see,
okay.
18%. There is, all of the bonds is going to the sewer project. Now, there's a portion of it for professional services, land acquisition, and all that. So some of that money is not going to construction.
they're asking about the rate.
Oh, the rate, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
18% rate
As far as
increase,
that,
right. Now, I don't know if there's
all
any,
of that
I don't know if
money
there's
is-
going level in that or not, but
It's all that
my
money
guess is
is-
the majority of it is going to the debt service, given the size of the bond issue and the duration. I mean, you run the math on $6 million over 40 years divided by 12, gives you an idea what the monthly debt service is. So, there was another question, I just lost my train of thought, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, old age is terrible.
Apply for disability.
Do the six of you feel confident that you understand what you read when you read this? And have all six of you have you read it from cover to cover?
All 32.
I'm asking because you're gonna vote, right? So I'd like to know.
The sewer bond.
Has everybody that's voting, have you guys all read it? Do you
Yes.
understand it?
And, you know, monthly, we do, I mean, what I've got in the back of my head, I understand completely about the water and the sewer. In the back of my head, I'm thinking, you know, we were able to get $2.1 million grant, 2.8, you know, 2.8, 2.1. You know, that came about, and I think that's what got this whole thing started, was the grant funding, which may not come around next time.
Do what you can
and
with
then-
2.1.
That's just for sewer.
I know, but that's what I'm saying, instead of increasing our rates on the sewer, I mean, I know you can't do your whole project, but do what you can with the 2.1.
Could have sold that Patricia Graham for $1 million.
Well,
So you want to stick a Band-Aid on the sewer?
yeah, because my
Yeah.
water is
Is that-
more important.
Absolutely.
I
We've
mean,
been sticking Band-Aids on the water for years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
stick
look, I mean-
Band-Aids on the water
What's the
versus sticking
difference?
Band-Aids on the sewer. I know which one I feed my kids with, so
Yeah.
that's the one I would prioritize.
that's, I mean,
personally.
that's basically at the root of all this. It's not that we don't want the sewer to be fixed or whatever, it's that we want our water to be fixed first, because it's
We're
more
on draw
important.
23.
Or at least see I
Or
agree
at
with
least
that,
see
or see
transparency,
transparency in these issues, because as soon as I saw that water running brown, my first thought was, well, one, my first thought was that I was coming here, and then my second thought was, I wonder if I gave that to my girls today. I wonder if I
Yeah.
didn't realize that when I made food for them, so when I'm hearing all of
Oh,
these
you're
great
cooking with it?
well, no, I bought a Berkey. I'm fortunate enough and privileged enough that I can buy a Berkey water filter, but I know that that is not the case for the vast majority of people. And to be quite honest, I'm sick of replacing my Berkey filters so fast. But my immediate thought was, our nanny took my daughters and played in the backyard with the pool. Did they ingest that water? Do I need to worry about them? And so I understand that sewage is obviously a priority and that you guys have tons of things on your plate. But from where we sit, it looks like no transparency, plus a rate hike, plus absolute willful ignorance of the health and welfare of the people that live in Milton. And I am sure that that is not the case. You guys all seem like very lovely people. But from where we sit, that's why we end up with a packed room of people just wanting to be able to safely bathe and hydrate our children. And so I understand not wanting to put a Band-Aid on the sewage, but we're dealing with Band-Aids on the water, and it's genuinely terrifying. I think that's the end of my
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's, Mr. Hornbuckle, come on up.
Yeah, Mr. Hornbuckle, you
We're
come
going,
on.
we're going to,
You won't.
I'm gonna allow about 10 more minutes before we start our council meeting. I'm gonna allow about 10 more minutes,
So whatever you gotta say.
and then we'll have to have our council meeting. Mr. Sean,
Because
there's
there's
$400, I should say.
associated
Uh,
enough to cover.
my understanding is you're gonna check on some federal money or some excess state surplus money for the, we're going about the water this last 10 minutes, okay?
Yeah, and so, good evening, everyone. My name is Sean Hornbuckle. I have represented this district in 16. Over the past, probably about 2 months, I have been in contact with some of you all when I was more properly alerted to this issue. I have been unsuccessful in some of my calls to the various offices at the state level. However, I am here tonight to learn more about the situation. I've spoken to several constituents in here but I have not heard the city. And so I felt that was very, very important to be here, to hear that. And also trying to have more discussions by West Virginia American Water as far as what they can do for you all. And so I sum all that up by saying my purpose of being here, Mr. Mayor, is just to learn more, to be more informed, to take that back to the state, and again, ask them for dollars. It is in my estimation, as we've heard time and time again, from our governor, and no pun intended, we're on a rocket ride to the moon. And we have a lot of surplus, and so if that is the case, it would make sense to me that we would have various projects around the state, not just here, because it is not just in Milton, but in other parts of the state. Obviously, I'm not their delegate, but to leverage some of those monies to alleviate the problems. And so I am more than willing to answer anything. That's pretty much all that I have. But I will, at any time, I'd be an advocate for any of you all. As the gentleman back there said in the back, the mayor has done a marvelous job in the city of Milton. And I think this is just a situation to where everybody needs to be on the same page. And the quicker we can get to that, I think the better for all. But I will do any and everything within my power, standing from where I sit at the legislature, to help try to identify any funds that are there, or again, be an advocate to try to help you all, constituents, city government, if that is even a possibility, to try to come to some type of resolution West Virginia American Water.
Sean, okay, I'd like to ask you a question. So if you've been working on this for 2 months now, and you're in a position that you're in, so why haven't you been able to get no answers?
Well, Carl, and to be frank, let me dial back. I'm in the minority party, and I don't get a lot of feedback sometimes, Carl.
But
If you want me to answer that, go ahead.
But again, okay, I'm not saying it's your excuse or whatever, okay?
Well, it's not an excuse, I'm
But
just
again,
telling you.
but what I'm trying to say is, okay, is that you said you've been working on this for 2 months now, and you've not got, the way I'm understanding, you've got zip, right? You have not got no feedback at all, right?
That is accurate, sir. Now, I will say that I've had some calls back from the EHR, but on the call back, I will not receive anybody. And so to make a blanket statement and say that they haven't called me back would be inaccurate. But when I follow up, I cannot reach anyone. And so I will tell you that.
Okay, so Mr. Manchin, he's got a lot of power right now in the Senate. And good, he's supposed to be helping the state of West Virginia. And again, Carol's up there. There's no way that you could have approached Senator Manchin and maybe try to. I'm just curious why you've not had no response.
That's not.
Oh, I can answer that.
I'm sorry.
Don't you worry.
The mom in me was like, wait, that's not how that works.
I'm a dad. So to answer your question, Carl, I have reached out to Manchin's office, Mr. Mike Browning, and I'm still waiting on a response, if that is fair enough for you. So I have reached out.
Well, again, you said you've been at it for 2 months now. Okay, again, I'm hate to repeat what you said, but you said you've been at it for 2 months now, and you're in the position you're in, zip nothing for us, I mean, for the citizens.
But wait a minute, let's go back on the city level, because we're in the same situation.
Right.
We've reached out
We reached, that's what we're
to
trying to
multiple
get at.
people
Right, we can't get
and
no
not
answer.
got no feedback. Everybody wants to help, but there's no help given.
Right.
And that's fair, Councilman Miller. And so I want to also be, I want to make sure I'm receiving this in the correct manner. Because the way that the questions are being asked is if I'm not trying to help the citizens of Milton, which would be 100% inaccurate. Now, if you were trying to make a parallel situation, is that you all maybe have reached out and haven't been able to find an accurate or appropriate answer, then that is, I understand.
That's where I'm going.
Oh, okay, but I want to apologize, because the way that you were asking it is if, when Ms. Christie asked me the question or has a concern, as if I'm not trying to do the best that I can and understand that I'm the only delegate here.
Absolutely.
Daniel Limbo does, okay?
I'm not talking ill of anyone. I just need you, the way that it was asked.
Okay, I'm sorry you took it, well, I didn't mean it like that.
Fair
All I'm
enough,
saying,
fair
we're
enough.
trying, and we didn't get no response, but you tried also, now they know that we were trying to.
Neither
We don't-
parties have got
Neither
no
party
answer.
got no answer.
And so also just to back it up another layer, I am employed by these people. And so, again, I'm coming here not for anything else, but to be supportive of them and you all as a council. So I also need to make sure that is understood here. I'm not picking sides or anything. I just want to help them to get, you all as well, to get clean water. And so I also don't want this to be misconstrued in any other fashion. I am simply here to help, and I have a great working relationship with Daniel. And that was not on him. The way that it was received is if, you know, I wouldn't take my Sundays to go meet with people to try to help.
No, what I was just,
Okay.
what I was getting at was we've been trying, you've been trying, so you didn't get nowhere either.
No, sir, but again, I am here and sorry. I am here and willing to help in any fashion. I will do that, and I just need to learn. Again, sat in the back for the whole, I'm sorry, sat in the back for the whole meeting, then ask a question or make impart on behalf of the city, on behalf of the constituents. Again, I simply wanted to learn more about the situation so that I can be the tool that you all can use in any type of fashion that you see fit to help these people have clean drinking water. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Can you come in and meet with us?
Oh,
And sit down with us and talk to us about it, you know? We would love to have someone who has a voice, maybe where we don't.
Absolutely, and to be frank, this is the arena of politics at any given time. And again, I've had rapport with the mayor before, obviously Carl, this Carl right here. If anybody wants to reach out to me, I'll give them my personal. Probably shouldn't do that, all right? But my personal cell phone number, I'll do anything. I will take off from work and essentially make less money and to come up here and set a time to meet. Absolutely, any day of the week. And whenever someone calls me or texts me, I will do that, not a problem. Now, I will have to try to probably find an appropriate time within the workday, as all of us here are trying to put food on the tables for our families. But I'll do it all day long. That's not a problem.
Sean, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
This is really just for anybody up front. Has anyone reached out to Water Development Authority? I think I had asked that at the beginning of the meeting.
And so I placed a call, again, maybe, I'm not going to, I don't like to make sweeping generalizations. Maybe they reached back out to me. I didn't receive it on my phone, okay?
I just want to.
Let me.
But I did.
Validate.
Sean, let me just clarify something. And certainly, the Water Development Authority plays a key role in financing water and sewer infrastructure in the state, no
Yes.
question. The first step to correct the issue with the water system is to have an engineering report done which looks at the system and evaluates what's necessary to fix it.
Right.
Because that's the first thing that goes into the dashboard at IJDC.
Exactly.
So that has to
Don't
be
they have
done.
resources
And my
to do that?
understanding is that's something that the Milton Municipal Utilities Commission is currently talking about with their consulting engineer
Yeah.
to start that process. So that's the very first step in any water and sewer project.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
and typically if the town or whatever, the county has the resources to do it and do an internal assessment, they will provide that to the WDA.
Right? Yeah, it actually has to be through a consulting engineer.
Well,
A outside consulting engineer. They can't do it themselves, but yes.
but regardless, if they don't have the resources or the money to even hire a consultant to do that, usually they will reach out and at least get that conversation started.
Yes, but you still have to have the PER. I mean, you have to have the preliminary engineering report to go, to request money from any state agency, you have to have a PER, period.
Okay.
It's the initial filing with the Infrastructure and Jobs Development Council, and through the WDA.
Right, okay.
Wasn't there some type of engineering report done in, was it 2018, 2019?
When we were here
When we were here the last time, there was an engineer that came and spoke with us outside and said that they had told you guys what needed to be done to be fixed. So, I mean, I don't know why that engineering report hasn't been completed already, unless he was just blowing smoke at us. I mean, and he very well could have been. I'm not sure, but that we did speak with an engineer outside in between meetings last year.
With Thrasher.
Yeah, with Thrasher, or 2 years ago.
Yes, ma'am.
Question, three-part question, but it's a quick.
Okay.
First of all, do you live in Huntington?
Yes, ma'am.
And you have West Virginia American Water?
Yes, ma'am.
You have very good water quality on an old antiquated water system that runs through Huntington.
To be fair, that would probably be,
This is yes, no question, Sean.
I haven't tested. So, also, when I'm, also,
My
too,
wife won't drink it.
you all, some of you all, some of y'all maybe your first time, I'm gonna fight like hell for you any day of the week. But what I also am not going to do is answer a question like that that might not be fair, that maybe gives a different impression. And so I think I have decent water, but I don't want to get into, again, that's my whole thing. I'm going to be equal as, I'm not pointing the fingers at anybody. And so I think it would be unfair to just make a
Right.
generalization like that. I have not been sick.
Right.
Say that.
I'm just saying that when companies cannot within themselves manage their business, they go for outside resources.
Sometimes.
Or they,
Or they eat money.
Honestly, I appreciate your nuance, though. It's like.
Yeah, again.
It's kind of a loaded question.
My thing-
Yeah.
But I'm honestly, I don't want to throw stones anywhere. I don't want to be creating an unfavorable situation for anyone in here, whether they're the policymakers, constituents. I just simply want to help, and so I'm I just want to fight like hell for clean water for y'all. And I don't want to get into the minutiae.
right, I would love for Milton to keep our water system because I eat, sleep, and breathe this town. I work here, I work at the school, these kids are my priority, this town is my priority, and I love it. But if we don't have the resources, then.
Now I do manage money for a living, so I need to put some in a kitty to make more. I can do that. That's up to him. That's up to him.
Yeah, if the resources aren't there, there's not a problem just saying, we don't have the resources.
So other than the engineering report, what else do you all need? Like, I mean, I think I speak for everybody in this room that we'll help any way we can. We'll provide whatever info you need to get this ball rolling and make sure that we can, get back to clean and healthy water. And more or less leave you all alone and let you do your jobs, right? I mean,
We don't want to come here.
I was gonna say, I certainly don't want to
Tuesdays at 8.
leave, wife and kid at home. But anyways, what else do you need in order, do you need us to reach out on your behalf? Do you need us to provide samples? What do you need? Anyone? What are next steps? I guess that's that's a better serious question. What are next steps?
Makes us feel like.
You get a PER, you have an engineering firm retained, and they prepare a preliminary engineering report, okay, where they study the situation and determine what the fix is and what it's gonna cost. And then your accounting firm, which is Griffith and Associates, figures out where your rates are today, and do you need an ongoing rate increase, but also how do you finance the improvements? Okay, do you qualify for grant money? Your average bill is $33.10 according to the PSC website. Okay, for water.
For water.
For water.
No, your sewer is expensive.
That's for 3,400. That's the Public Service Commission website. That's for 3,400 gallons. It's $33.10. I'm just telling you what's there. I just pulled it up. Okay, just for water. Just for water. So then you have to figure out. Do you qualify for grant funds with rates at that level, and at what point do you qualify for grant funds? ARPA is a completely different world. The state has $630 million that's going to be allocated out to water, sewer, broadband, and I don't know what all else.
Yeah.
And that'll be a competitive application process. So, but. Once you identify grant sources, yeah, sure, send emails, pester your local politicians and get them to weigh in and help out. I mean, grants, no offense, Sean, but I mean, grants are political at some level.
So can I'm sorry.
No, I just want to say something real quick.
Can I-
My whole thing is,
why is he looking at us, directing this to us to say, you need to do this, you need to do, those people were elected to do that.
Because he asked me the question.
Well, that's fine.
Because
but
he asked me the question.
I'm not directing it necessarily at you.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying in general, why are we expected to do this when you all were elected in good faith to protect us, to make sure that you would do the best you could for our community? And we've come here year after year saying our water is not, it's not drinkable, we don't want to cook with it. And he's giving all these things out, and I'm thinking, why to us? Why not you all? I wasn't elected to do that. You were. He's right.
Okay.
Say, let the mayor time. I had to.
You got 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Okay, as President Thrasher Engineering, they have been working with us on these water issues, and we've been doing investigations. We've been working with them for the last 10 years, and they've been working on these issues, but the finance portion of this project, of a water project, is what the holdup is. And the reason any report's not been developed is we're trying to reach out to all sources we can to find grant funds to be able to make it financially feasible. I got you. So they're, I mean, not doing, just because we're not issuing a report doesn't mean we're not doing anything in the background. It takes a long time to develop all those, the details of the engineering report.
We've been doing this a long
Okay.
time too.
All right, thank you. Thank you, everybody, we appreciate you, we really did.
Can I interject?
John, thank you very much for coming in.
Oh,
Okay.
this
Can I
guy.
interject an observation, please?
Get your good side up.
My name is Noel Jordan. I have a couple of observations to make. I've been in attendance at town council for the last year and a half. Anybody in this room besides that gentleman and that gentleman know that I ran for mayor in May? Okay. Does anybody know in May, 85% of the registered voters in this town did not show up?
That's right.
It's 85%.
And that's why we moved the election time.
I know. Let me finish my observation, okay? The gap between government and the people is very wide. The apathy issue has got to be addressed. We can't cover that up by changing the election date. We can't do that. We've got to start thinking team. We've got to start coming to council meetings. Had my campaign sign to Smith and Mason Street, you know, my little Noel Jordan sign. A young lady walked up to me. She was expressing interest in me, which is flattering, you know. And she said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I'm running for mayor." "Of what?" And I told her I was running for mayor of Milton. She said, "Okay." I asked her, "Are you registered to vote?" She said, "No." And I said, "Do you know where the election's being held?" And she said, "No." I said, "It's in City Hall." "Where is City Hall?" That is the truth. We can't stand as an elected body when that's the reality. Adolf Hitler came to power under those circumstances, bumped off a weak Weimar Republic, and we've been paying for it. We've got to get people in the door. We've got to start coming together as one unit, and it's got to start right now.